Making satire is kind of like running for office. If you only appeal to those who agree with you, then you'll fail every single time. Now, I want to take the time to break this argument down because I haven't seen so much wrong in a single quote since, well, whenever mine and Caden's co-op goes up. First of all, these two things are apples and oranges. Satire is merely joking about something to prove a point, while running for office is taking the political position to aid a country. These two are completely different. Besides, don't you have to get a campaign started in the first place in order for people to start agreeing with you? Kind of hard to appeal to only those who agree with you when you don't have anyone agreeing with you in the first place. So, you could get all the people voting for you because they agree with your side, but you should ultimately lose position just because that one Republican says, no, you're a Democrat, so I'm not going to vote for you. I mean, I'm not the most political guy in the world. That's more so my buddy, that Elfin Lee guy, and yet even I can tell your logic is ass backwards. Secondly, you say we only appeal to those who agree with us, then we fail at being satirical every single time. So, what you're saying is, I can make a hysterical satire about gas prices being expensive, have a ton of people laughing at how funny the joke was, and how it hits close to home. But as soon as that one guy who disagrees with my satire comes around, suddenly the joke fails. To Mr. Enter here, it's a one and done deal. Your satire has to appeal to everyone to be good satire, but the one person who hates it pretty much fucks over your entire joke. That's a pretty rough standard. Thirdly, and this is the worst part, we haven't even started the video, and yet you've already shown how well you grasp at the concept of not just satire, but comedy in general. And not to mention, this quote is going to bite him in the ass several times during this commentary.
Let's be totally honest here. I think that we can all agree that satire is one of the most misused and wrongly attributed genre of anything ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think poetry is more bastardized than satire is, mainly because most poetry I've seen from people who think they're poets believe just having one simple rhyme scheme suddenly makes them a poet. Sure, satire has to have a point, but it's easier to make a satire about something than it is to force a poem. Also, I love how for the video you have this picture where your side is represented by an angel, and the other side is represented by the devil. Totally doesn't scream, I'm always right and they're always wrong.
Why is this? Because stupid people use the banner of satire as a shield and they get called out for being a dick and mindlessly insulting people, philosophies, or events. That's not satire. Blindly causing controversy for the sake of it is not satire.
Well, why not? Sure, they're starting controversy for the sake of it, but that doesn't mean neither the joke nor the point of the satire is completely eliminated. So just as the quote from the beginning, Mr. Enter here believes that no matter how reasonable your argument may be, no matter how funny the joke is, and no matter what you're presenting to argue with, if it's there to start controversy, your satire fails. Not even a minute in, you're already coming off as a killjoy.
Parody is not satire, although they are closely related. Satire is essentially parody with a point beyond just being funny. But if that point is just to insult someone or something, that's not satire. That's more akin to tabloid journalism, which is generally frowned upon by people mature enough to have moved on from shitting in their pants.
Hey, you can't say that, Mr. Enter. That's insulting someone, which automatically makes your satire not satire. I mean, that's your logic. I'm just using it. Also, tabloid journalism is satire? I thought it was the means of airing the dirty laundry of celebrities who hide shameful things from the public eye. I mean, these articles aren't really meant for a joke, making them completely separate from the term satire. Sure, there's some articles that have titles like Hillary Clinton adopts an alien child, but I think that's more so done for parody than it is for satire. That is, compared to celebrities having children or cheating on each other. You know, this is already starting to remind me of your Trolls video, where you would take specific crimes, tack the word troll on it, and expect people to take your word for it. How about giving us proof that people consider tabloid journalism as satire? And unlike your Trolls video, this video has no links to its sources whatsoever, neither in the description, nor anything being stated in the video. The only link that you even have is the link to the written rant of this video.
Today we're going to be talking about satirizing philosophies, attitudes, and we're going to be talking about satirizing people. It is actually very different on how you do each, and that is one of the many misconceptions about satire. Here's another one. Satire is a lot closer to criticism than it is to teasing or trolling. The truth of—
Not really. I've seen people tease someone over something stupid they've done, and even seen trolls troll someone for something stupid, and a point did come out of it. Have you not even heard of Jim81 Jim when he trolled the entire commentary community by not just pointing out its flaws, but having them show their flaws in response to prove its point? Or, if you want a more relatively recent example, when I went under the name HiddenMu49 to troll Double S Animations into exposing himself as a horrible person. You say it can't be done, yet it has been done.
The matter is that satire will inevitably piss people off, but it is not the point of satire to piss people off. Satire is supposed to exaggerate the worldview of those who agree with you to speak specifically to those who don't, with the purpose of preventing them from becoming the caricatures that you have created.
I thought satire was to make a joke while making a point in said joke, not to have others convince those who disagree with you. Yeah, remember that quote you said at the beginning? So guess what, guys? If people don't agree with your satire, then just have the people who do agree with you try to convince the non-believers to agree with you.
But now that that's out of the way, it's time to piss people off. Like I said, you can't do satire without pissing someone off. Expecting no one to get offended with you is stupid and illogical.
Meanwhile, we have a reply from you to the Mungo Man trying to defend the video image from someone who didn't agree with it, saying it is a parody of a satire, even though there's no context at all to that being the case, neither in the video nor the description of the video. Let's also look back at that lovely quote you brought up earlier. You say satire is like running for office. You fail every time if you only care to please everyone. And yet, here you are saying satire will always piss someone off. So good job. We all suck at satire, including me.
So, who is satire supposed to talk to? Well, let's start with this. There is no point in conveying satire to the people who already agree with you. The purpose of satire is more or less to make a moral or political change in the wider world. The point of satire is to make a better world.
I'm sorry, how many times is the definition of satire going to be changed during the span of this video? So far, it's happened twice. I thought satire was trying to make a joke while proving a point with your joke. Who says it has to be political and change the world in some way? Why can't I just joke about how my bunny won't stop peeing on me every time I try to take him outside, and call him the poopinator because he won't stop crapping on the floor? It's not political or world changing. I'm just merely saying rabbits can be dickbags. And yet I can't hit the little guy.
In essence, the point of satire is to make people agree with you by making what they believe in look ridiculous. That is not an easy task.
I beg to disagree. As I said earlier, my bunny is the goddamn poopinator.
And it's definitely not done by, I don't know, making up lies about what people believe in or who they are, blindly insulting people, giving away someone's address and telling other people to beat the shit out of them, sending Zelda Williams images of her father Robin hanging from the ceiling and then making fun of her when she left the internet because of it.
Oh, yay! Another thing you haven't learned from your Trolls video. How about giving us proof instead of just saying it? Now, I'm not saying these things aren't horrible occurrences. They really are. But unless you can actually validify that these actions were done and or being defended under satire, then you're blowing smoke. Secondly, what if it wasn't the satirist doing that someone's personal info got out? What if it was the person themselves who gave it out because they were that stupid? I've had that happen before with a guy known as Xeon the Hero Hog. I said his art was crap, and he gave me his personal info. So, what, do you want me to just say, hey, good job for giving me your info? No, I'm going to say you're an idiot for doing that. How about instead of seeing things like this from the viewpoint of the accuser is the one at fault, how about actually checking out the background? Then again, cutting corners has been your shtick lately now, hasn't it?
I have a feeling I'm kind of pissing off a bunch of people already.
You know, for someone who keeps saying you shouldn't intentionally piss people off, you certainly love to bring up the fact that you're probably going to be pissing people off. I'm getting mixed messages here.
On anarchy, that means you probably don't have much faith in people like leaders or voters. But if you do want anarchy, then you have a lot of faith in people not to backstab each other and follow rules that no one is enforcing. But that's a story for another day.
Then why bring it up? Bruh, I could make an entire skit off that subject alone, and you can't even bother presenting your audience with a good satire and how it should sound? What kind of arguing is this?
And hell, I've made more controversial arguments like, just because you're on the internet, it's not okay to be a dick. I mean, it's really, really easy to satirize stupid things people do on the internet.
That's true, actually. Hell, I'm doing it right now.
So, a man sees an advertisement on the television about a new store that's just opened up. He gets in his car and breaks the speed limit trying to get to this store. He doesn't even put the car in park as he runs out and bursts through the front door of the store. He shouts, "First!" getting the attention of everyone who was already there. Also, he left his wallet at home and was planning on shopping later at his own convenience. I don't get why people shout first on internet videos. I really don't.
Because they think they're being funny? Are we really questioning this?
I don't get either. College. Did you guys know that college tuition has risen 4 times the rate of inflation in the United States?
Okay, so you could provide this as an example of satire, but you say your story on anarchy is for a different subject. I'd also bring up that satire should also be funny, but then again, Enter's execution of telling jokes is always poorly done. Seriously, he could tell the duck and grapes joke to people and he'd make it sound dull. Oh shit, I just did a satire. I better not piss anyone off or I fail at my joke.
That is absolutely insane. I went down to a recently opened college and asked why their tuition was $25,000 per year, when they essentially didn't have much of a reputation and they weren't providing any books or including dormitories and that. The guy running the place told me that this was the only way he could afford paying off his student loans.
This isn't even satire anymore. You're just telling us college is expensive. Hey, genius, I think you're forgetting the part of satire where you're supposed to have a joke.
That's satire. I picked a topic that's relevant and one that I truly believe in. College tuition prices are highly unreasonable.
And yet you can't even do that right.
On the new standardized test, I think they're calling it the USUCK. One of the questions there is it worth selling away 20 years of your life for a college education? And if you mark anything but C definitely, then it's wrong. Hell, even B yes isn't good enough for half credit. Needless to say, I don't really agree with standardized tests. And coincidentally, they're fucking easy to satirize. I mean, when they're cutting art and gym for more test prep, standardized tests must be really important. I mean, filling in the exact same answers as everyone else means that we should value A, individuality and creativity, B, high test scores, C, good teachers and good students, D, everyone being all the same. Now,
but standardized tests are used to see if you retained knowledge on the subject you're studying. I mean, you can't just bitch about how your creativity and individuality is being suppressed because your test paper was marked wrong when you said an animation keyframe is a type of door locking mechanism. It's great you want to stick out amongst the rest of the students, but you're still wrong.
Now, that was actually a question made by a satire of the Common Core Aligned standardized tests by an 8th grade girl. She gets satire. Do you? I mean, it's true. Everyone being the same helps people get jobs working in factories until they get replaced by robots, or they get jobs in offices and then get replaced by people who thought outside of the box. I didn't even need to say that standardized tests are stupid to say that standardized tests are stupid. That's the power of the genre. Personally, I think that innovation and creativity are the values that will lead us to holding our place in the future. I'd be wrong, though, if I said that our schools were completely disincentivizing creativity.
Even though you just did. A few seconds ago.
In reaction to these tests, children's bodies are reacting in all kinds of creative ways, like throwing up and wetting themselves. We have never seen results like this before. Strange how I read in a Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure book where the main character goes into the future. There, he can choose to go to school where he's given a test that measures human children to robotic standards.
Okay, this is a major problem I've been having with Mr. Enter's videos as of late, and this is coming from someone who used to be a fan of his work. Dude, you drag out your points far too long. I've been sitting here for about 4 minutes, and you've only listed 2 examples, and one you said wasn't even relevant. Honestly, this is why these videos are often a chore for me to sit through. You're so slow with your point that it sometimes makes me wonder if you even know what your topic is anymore. Just bring up one example of correctly done satire, and that's it. That's all you need.
One thing that you cannot do with satire is backpedal. When you create an act of satire, you make your opinion known. You need to mean what you say. That's why trolling is not satire, as many people claims it is.
Well, it can be. Granted, not all trolling is done as satire, but I've seen it done before. I bring you back to my example of Jim 81 Jim. Another thing I also have to ask, and this isn't just to Mr. Enter, but this is to anyone watching. Is it just me? Or does this guy get extremely touchy when it comes to something like trolling? Even when it's not so much done to him, nor are there any cases of it being presented on his videos. I just find it rather odd considering he's practically shooting himself in the foot for shit that doesn't even happen constantly, especially on his newer content.
A troll will likely tell someone to, I don't know, delete System 32 on their hard drive, despite not believing that's a good idea. Oh wait, that's not trolling, that's bullying.
Wait, I thought you said trolling and bullying were the same thing. Hey, remember what you said earlier about backpedaling? Good job, dipshit. You're doing that right now. Also, no, it's not bullying. Telling someone to install something harmful for their computer isn't bullying. That's just playing a really mean prank on someone. You might as well say putting a bucket of water above an open door for someone to open isn't a prank but bullying. Which it isn't.
Even if he does it to 50 different people he's never met before in his life. Despite people telling me that a troll doesn't target specific people, and a bully targets the same person over and over again, that's apparently the difference between the two.
What about the people saying trolling and cyberbullying is based on intent? Also, I thought this was a rant about satire. Suddenly this just became another rant about trolls over the internet. How ironic that at the start of this video, he says stupid people misuse satire and use it as a defense. And yet, here he is, making another rant about trolls while hiding the actual subject under the term satire.
Okay, now I'm just confused. You trolls are all gonna have to give me a calm, rational, and consistent definition of what a troll actually is. Or I just might be confused for life.
Oh sure, we can do that. Just unblock those people who had a different mentality from yours and we'll all be buddies again. Okay? Okay.